Welcome to Beer and Baseball, a Myrtle Beach Pelicans production. I am your host, Adam Dellinger. But before we get to today's pod, here are a few housekeeping notes. First off, this is a new podcast, so the more you share, the more listeners we obtain. Where can you listen, you might ask? On the iHeart Podcast Network and also on the Myrtle Beach Pelicans YouTube channel. Listen, subscribe, review, 5 stars would be great, and share. That's all we ask. Now, let's go.
Welcome to Beer and Baseball. I'm your host, Adam Dellinger, on a very special edition that we're going to call this the informative edition of Beer and Baseball. I've got Myrtle Beach Pelicans general manager Ryan Moore across from me virtually, that is. His couch looks way more comfortable than this crappy studio chair that I'm spinning around in. Ryan, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, Adam?
I don't know, man. Same thing, different day. Since the last time you and I were seen on screen together or recording audio at all, there have been a great deal of changes in baseball. First, starting at the major league level with the announcement that there would be a condensed season once the players and ownership and the commissioner all came to an agreement there. There were plans to move forward. And then, unfortunately, the announcement that affected you guys directly right here in Myrtle Beach and all across the country, that of a canceled minor league season. I thought you might just want to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, we got news last Tuesday. Kind of heard some rumors floating around Monday evening, later in the day, that something may be coming down the pike on Tuesday from the Major League Baseball Commissioner's office, and that's what happened. Major League Baseball informed Minor League Baseball that they would not be providing players to the minor league affiliates this year. And with no players, there's no opportunity for games, and without games, there's no season. So, it was heartbreaking news. It was, sad for so many different people and aspects of the game, and the fanhood, and the players, and the umpires. It wasn't news that was a surprise per se. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, but it still doesn't make it any easier to handle. So we're now about 1 week out. Spirits have rebounded, kind of looking towards the future. Future being potentially a month down the road, a week down the road, in terms of what can we do to serve the community with our ballpark, whether that's in the form of entertainment and giving people a moment away from everything else that's going on, or if it's partnering with DHEC and Highlands Health to utilize our parking lot for COVID testing. We're not going to shut our doors. We're not going to go dark. We're going to still operate as best as we can and as safe as we can. And we're embarking on an unusual retreat. We've never had a retreat in the middle of July, but the situation is different now. So we're going to corral the team and spend a couple of days looking at what does the next 30, 60, 90 days look like, and then look, what does 2021 look like as well.
I saw the statement that you put out, Ryan, the day that the announcement was made. I actually texted you then too. I thought that was very well read, but I just kind of wanted to, just for my own curiosity, go into the mindset and the dynamics of the front office for you guys when that announcement came down. Is it like a scramble, or is it a rush to get in touch with your season ticket holders, who obviously are so important? Like, how does all that play out?
Like I said a little bit earlier, it wasn't necessarily a surprise. So if we had contingency plans in place, if this were to happen, kind of this is our plan. If this is what's going to happen, this is our plan. So we had the framework of kind of what that looked like. We've been staying in communication with our partners, season ticket members, group holders, and letting them know kind of where we stand. And we have a program that a lot of our partners and supporters have come on board with, the Fly With Us program that rolls over anything that they have purchased from the 2020 season to the 2021 season. And there's some incentives and perks that we put in there to become a member of that Fly With Us club, and really looking at ways we can give unique experiences to our fans, set up Zoom calls with our managers, with some of our players, potentially different events at the ballpark when the climate allows for it. So it was definitely a busy day, but I wouldn't necessarily characterize it as us kind of scrambling around. We have a strong team here that knew what their roles were and went about it.
So now that we're, a week out of that particular set of events there, have you been in contact with other general managers, at least maybe in the Carolina League, or friends that you have across the country that do the same job that you do? Are you guys still brainstorming for additional ideas and things that serve the community?
Yeah, for sure. I think the communication between GMs and all people throughout baseball, counterparts at other teams, has been a lot stronger than it ever has been, because we're all dealing with things that we've never dealt with before, and everybody's situation is different. Not everybody has the governmental restrictions that some other people may have, and capacity limits, and what you can and cannot open up the ballparks for based on municipalities, state or federal level. So there's a lot of, hey, I know you guys did this a couple months ago. We're now entering a phase that can allow us to do it. What were some of the lessons that you learned? And, you talk about that kind of on the business side, but there's also been a lot of the how you doing, how you hanging in there, and trying to be kind of emotional support for each other. Trying to call people and checking in on them, and you find out through those calls, man, that made me feel better too. Hearing other people's perspectives and thoughts and plans as we move forward during these really unknown times.
Well, what's crazy to me is that I think that you and I had a conversation about that in general. I think it was last week after you put out the statement. And our jobs, although they're similar in that we promote a brand and that we try to, maintain a brand and serve the community and things of that nature, there are some similarities. But honestly, our jobs couldn't be, any farther opposite than what they actually are. But I think when you and I spoke last week, we kind of realized that we're dealing with the same anxieties. And I feel like a lot of us are dealing with the exact same anxieties, because we're all facing this for the very first time. It doesn't matter if you bus tables for a living, or if you're an attorney, or if you run a baseball team, or if you do a radio show. So I just wanted to commend you for mentioning that, the importance of reaching out and asking people how they're doing. So while we've mentioned that, we'll do it live now, man. How you holding up? What about the team over there? You guys cool?
Yeah, we're hanging in there, and we're not blind to the fact that we're alone. This is impacting everybody, like you said. So many different industries, from top to bottom. Entry level to C-level positions are being impacted, and we're cognizant that we're one aspect that's being impacted, but what can we do to control the impact on us and put ourselves in the best position to move forward when the health and safety allows for it. I've told you many times, we've got great people here on staff. Unfortunately, we've had to put some folks on temporary furlough as we navigate these times. And the team, that's still consistently working, and the team that's on furlough has been such an asset to us to be able to be in a position to survive this climate. People have been working tirelessly. I've had a lot of folks say, "You must have a lot of free time on your hands now that you don't have games," and it's like, there are some times that you're free that you wouldn't necessarily be working, but there's been a lot of hours put in that aren't traditionally required for the job to make sure that we are prepared for when those announcements come, and that we're looking out for the health and safety of anybody that comes into our ballpark. And it's been a challenge, but I'm proud of how we as an organization have handled the situations, and as things change, we have to change with it.
I did want to make the podcast have some positive overtones, because everybody's depressed that we're not having a minor league baseball season. But I have seen similar sentiments from not only you guys, but the Winston-Salem Dash. I'm from Winston-Salem, so I follow everything that they do as well. Grew up going to those games as a kid, and I think everybody is really stoked and excited about what they can do for the 2021 season. And I wouldn't be surprised if you and that team you've got over there aren't already kicking around ideas.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of that light at the end of the tunnel that you got to focus on, that optimism and positivity, and say, when we open up the gates, it's not just going to be opening day. It's going to be different. It's going to be special. There's going to be a lot of pent up excitement. I've been joking around with our team here. I was like, let's open up gates at 9 a.m. games at 7 o'clock at night. We'll have breakfast and lunch, and we'll do youth games throughout the day. And we gotta put a cherry on top of this. This isn't just opening day 2021. This is a return of baseball to the beach. It's a return of that human enjoyment and emotions that come with it. And we kid, it's the worst case scenario, but we've never had as much time to plan for opening day than we do right now. We're usually working into the middle of September, need a couple weeks of downtime before you can kind of even get your head around it. Now we had so many ideas and plans for this 2020 season that we can take the best of that and then combine it with some new ideas for the 2021 season. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. David Ross, Cubs manager, tweeted out, or there was a reporter that tweeted out a comment that he made that said, when we throw the first pitch on opening day, I'm gonna be like a 12-year-old with tears in my eyes. And I retweeted. I said, when we finally open up our gates in 2021, I'm gonna be like a newborn opening up these gates, because it's just gonna be a ton of emotions coming out. Happiness, sadness, joy, optimism. There's just gonna be a day, and we can't wait for that day to come. And I promise you, it's not a game you would want to miss.
If you are somebody that visits the Myrtle Beach area, or somebody that follows the Myrtle Beach Pelicans on their social media feeds, and you see these podcasts, and when they get uploaded, these video chats that we're doing, I want to encourage you to visit their merchandise shop, because the Pelicans are really crafty with their merch. I think they've got the best folks behind the design of the things that they're doing over there. Go ahead and check out some of the stuff they've got out now, like unflocking believable 2020 t-shirts that you guys have out right now. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah, as I think that was a little tagline that we brought out. This was before I came back to the team. I think it was 2014, and it was met with some criticism about it not being family friendly, and certainly can understand it. But I felt like there was ever a time to bring it back, and if there was ever a time that made it relevant, now is the time. And so we put together a design, and like you said, Dan Bailey behind the scenes with our merch is, in my opinion, the best in the game. And I'm not talking just minor leagues; I'm talking across the board. He knows what he's doing, and we said, let's roll it out there. And then last night, I don't know if you saw this one, the Durham Bulls put out a shirt. It's like 2020. This is some bull shirt. So a lot of teams are having fun and getting creative with it. Our friends out in Eugene, Allen, and then they just released a whole line. I think they said they went 0-76 for the season as one of their shirts. Check out their stuff. But to your point, how can people support your minor league clubs across the country? Buy merch. Everybody's sitting on a ton of merch. Everybody had to already put in their orders and ramp up for the expected sales of 2020, and we're not seeing that come through the gate. So a lot of teams are running a lot of good specials, free shipping, percentages off, extra bonus gifts. It's a great way to show that you care. And when you buy it, take a hat, tweet it back at the team. The team will probably like it and share it. It's a fun way to stay engaged with your fans.
You're incredibly humble and very modest. Your whole team is. I'm not so much. So I will say this. We spent a lot of time early on in the pandemic, and we still do. So I love that. And I believe in it, that we should support local. And we talk about restaurants and we talk about retail. But I want to tell you, your minor league ball clubs, those are operated and ran day to day by local people right here in our own backyards. And though the job is unconventional and not something that's like top of mind, like how many people can say they know the general manager of a baseball team? Not a lot of people can say that. It's just like there's just not a whole lot of you, but you guys are local, so support these folks. I don't have a problem saying that. Wherever you're listening to this, whatever town you're in, buy a Winston-Salem Dash hat, buy a Myrtle Beach Pelicans t-shirt. So support our minor league ball clubs, because they're really struggling right now. I'll just plug that for you.
Thanks, Adam.
For more beer and baseball, subscribe to our podcast and the Myrtle Beach Pelicans YouTube channel. You can also follow the Myrtle Beach Pelicans on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next time, cheers.